Welcome to these webinar series that we've been doing as a build-up to the Expo. But it's also an opportunity for me to interview some of the amazing, inspirational and great talent that I have speaking at the Expo. I put a post out yesterday to say I have a few friends coming on my Instagram, and it was ridiculous. All the heads wouldn't fit in. We do a collage, and there was over like, I don't know, they wouldn't fit in. I had to put it in 2 photographs. I said, I've got a few friends coming. But, you know, I was delighted to have Tammy speaking. We met, as she mentioned, at a previous Expo. And listen, you bring beautiful energy. So thank you so much, Tammy, for being here today.
Oh, I'm so excited. It brings me so much joy because, you know, I love what I do. And the thing that makes me so happy is sharing not just my messages, but sharing a teaching and awakening with everyone around the world. And when I do that, it makes me feel like I'm living, eating, sleeping, breathing my purpose. So thank you for having me. And I'm excited to come to the event in February.
February, very soon now.
Yeah, very soon.
So Tammy, tell me, please, where are you from? Where were you born? Tell me about your early years.
Okay, that's a long story. To put it in short, I was born in California, grew up in the East Coast, but I also grew up and spent many of my younger years actually with more of my teachers. My childhood was very different than other people's because I was born with an intuitive ability. My family was against what I do. So my family is a very strict Roman Catholic, Italian, Jewish heritage. So it was a very strong religion. You know, it was like I have Jewish on this side and you know, Catholicism on this side. So it was like being intuitive and being outspoken is not what you do in my family. So because of my strength and because of my outspoken voice of communicating and telling my family what I saw and what I seen and my dreams and people who passed away, like one example, just to give a short example, my great grandmother passed away. And I told my mother before we went to the funeral, I was probably about 4 or 5. I told my mother before we went to the funeral that she was talking to me and, you know, the messages that she said for her sons, which was my father's father, my uncle, you know, my great uncle, and then my other great uncle. So she had 3 sons. And instead of hearing what I had to say, it was very much like, you're wrong, you're evil, you're dark, what's wrong with you? You need to learn to shut up. So they then supported me in a way where they didn't expect to be supporting me. And I spent a lot of time actually in convents and with very amazing spiritual people. And that's the real place that I grew up. So I spent many years with different type of shamans, living in convents, whether it was in Quebec, Vatican City, Israel. I spent time mainly in convents as I was growing up, learning and understanding more about religion and different type of spiritual beliefs. So to say where I grew up, I can't, because it was in so many places. It was like I was world traveled before I was even 20.
Well, it always helps to put in context where people come from. That's kind of why understanding where we all come from.
I completely understand it. It's just my story is so different.
So different to many others, I can imagine. And especially, I was just thinking, when you were saying with did you say Italian and Jewish? I mean, I'm Spanish, so
yes.
And I have
Sicilian.
a lot of Jewish.
My grandfather said, not Italian, Sicilian.
I did say ooh. So basically, so I can imagine the Sicilian and the Jewish. I mean, oh my God, what passion and what energy must have gone in those families. I can only imagine. So how would you define what you do now and who you are?
So being blessed with the opportunity, with being able to grow up in many beautiful, amazing locations in the world and having some of the most amazing people in my space, and especially the challenges, you know, with my family constantly being against me. Still to today, my family is against me. It has made me really, really, really strong. And it's helped me to become so much more, I don't want to say just strong. It's made me become so much more clear on what's missing in the world. And, you know, one of the things, and I know I just lost your question, but I was thinking about this when I was talking about growing up. What was your question again? Just to go back.
No, it's how you would define who you are and what you do now.
Yeah. So this does have to do with that. So as I was growing up, it took a lot of me figuring out who I am, because when I was going through these different locations as I was growing up and living in different parts of the world, one of the things I had to discover and I had to find out is, who am I? Right? So I had to figure out, okay, well, who am I? Because my mother's saying I'm not good. My father's saying I'm not good. I'm completely against everything that they ever wanted. And when I was actually, I'm a twin. So when I was first born, my real mother who born me tried giving me away. It didn't work out because they said you can't separate twins. It was a whole story. She refused to hold me. She was against me up until I was 2 years old. Then she wanted me dead. And here's a very interesting story. But bottom line, there was a lot of negativity being brought up. And because of that negativity that was being brought up, it made my core so much more powerful. And that's where I really focused on studying and focusing on spirituality and religions and different ways of helping people. Because I believe that when we're helping people, if we don't eat, sleep, breathe, and talk from the heart, then actually we really can't make a difference in anyone's life. And one of the things that made a difference in my life is when I discovered that one of the most amazing things was spending time with just strangers doing charity work, whatever it was that I did, any type of activity that I did, and seeing the results and just being passionate and loving them with no reward, just literally their smiles on their face. That was my reward. That's what made me start becoming really strong, and it raised me up. It helped raise me up and change my whole vibration. And then when that happened, I realized, oh, okay, so it doesn't matter whether we have approval, because the approval is what the world is looking for. The world is looking for approval. You know, a small example. So I have 4 children from the ages of 22 to 6.
Wow.
So I have a variety. And my 6-year-old was a gift that came way later in life with my husband. But when I had these children, one of the things that I realized is that when we allow ourselves to bring these children up and bring them into the world, they don't have the gifts that they're supposed to be having, which is being able to connect to the source. And what I mean by the source, I don't care if you call it God, our creator, the universe, the light, whatever word you want to use. You know, I've studied many different types of religions, whether it's Buddhism, Catholicism, Judaism, it doesn't matter. And when you connect to the source, that's where you find your strength and your purity again. So that's what helped me through all my trials and tribulations, through all my struggles, was connecting to the source and staying strong to that connection, just making it like a solid titanium core within my whole soul, being and body. And when I connected to that source, I was like, oh, I'm unbreakable. Nothing can break me down. And that's what really helped me. So when I help people, my main focus is helping them to connect to the source as well, in any way that they possibly can, whether it's spiritually, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, whether it's mentally, whether it's financially, because all of us are searching for something different, but yet we forgot that hundreds of years ago, this was a common conversation, being able to be connected to the source and connecting to your vibration. These days, it's not that way.
What would you say that your abilities are? You obviously have many, but what would you say that your abilities are?
My main ability is I communicate with guardian angels and spirit guides. So I've always been intuitive all my life. But what I do is I am more of a speaker and a teacher. I mean, of course, I have programs and things like that as well, but I'm mainly a teacher, helping people to learn how to develop their gifts that are within inside of them so that they can put the right foot forward and eat, sleep, breathe, and walk in their path. So by using my intuition and all the studies and the world travels and everything else I do, I blend it all together so that I can give everyone the gift that I have, because every one of us have it within us. It's just we don't use it. Now, yes.
I was just about to say that I think that's one of the challenges, unfortunately, that a lot of us have, that we don't necessarily trust or follow our intuition, or we don't actually know how to develop it, or we don't know how intuitive we are. I'm sure you see many people that you can see from a mile. You probably can from several miles more. You can see how intuitive they are and the energy that they have, and they're obviously not tapping into it. Is that the right assessment?
That's a perfect example. And like, go to even atheist or science or any type of a person who doesn't understand spirituality or intuition. And what is the number one thing they talk about? Connecting to your gut feeling. Well, what is your gut feeling? It's your intuition. So a lot of people who don't even know that they're connecting to their intuition have already been using it throughout their life. It's just they're not using it as their main source. And when I help people connect to that main source, then they no longer go astray. They no longer make U-turns. They no longer, get lost, et cetera, et cetera. So when you're connecting to the source within inside yourself and your own intuition, your ability that's connected to your sacral chakra, which is your upper stomach, your gut feeling, you're always, always walking straight. Always. You're on your path. You're parallel to where you're supposed to be. But most of us, we've used that terminology. Oh, I listened to my gut feeling this time. Or, oh, I didn't feel like it was right to go down that dark alley. It just doesn't feel right. It's not because it looks scary, because sometimes we do walk down dark alleys and sometimes we do make mistakes and go the wrong direction. But when you listen to your intuition, you listen to your gut feeling, and you pay attention to that message that's inside of you, it saves you time after time after time. And we do that throughout our lives. But when you use it as your true guide and really connect with it, which is what I teach people, you always succeed.
Well, I find it, I was going to say that, it's so cool. It's like a habit, and I'm sure that they don't necessarily use it. I've got to say that I feel that I'm very intuitive. I haven't necessarily developed the skill. Okay. And then there's a lot of people that I know are very, very spiritual. I feel energy. If anything, more than anything, I feel energy. And I've always been very, I just can't accept negative energy.
Absolutely.
So I'm in a place now. If I see someone, I just simply feel I just don't want it, and I kind of like, I make it very clear that I don't want to be anywhere near it, and I express it in my face and my feelings and verbally. But sometimes you feel that, and I think it's something very, very cool to have. So listen, what I wanted to ask you, because obviously I didn't even read your CV, but you've had the most phenomenal mentors. Just please tell us some of the amazing mentors that you've had and the things you've done, because you're one of our best hidden secrets at the Expo.
Yes, thank you. I love, and actually not until about 15, maybe almost 20 years ago, I didn't realize that my mentors were so recognized, because I was so hidden from the world, living in convents. To me, they were normal people. So obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I lived in Vatican City. So I knew John Paul the Pope, who I love.
Amazing.
He was my heart. Sorry, I get emotional.
So it's okay. He was such a loved man. He was such a beautiful man.
He was so. It's not that he was just so loved. He was so passionate, and he supported me in so many ways. He's the one who taught me. He said, Tammy, he said, you're a gift. He said, you don't realize, because, I lived in the convent over there. So he said, you don't realize that your ability is not a curse, because my family said I was cursed, and, they said bad words to me all the time. And he said, you're not a curse. He said, you're such a gift. So John Paul is actually the one who introduced me to Mother Teresa. And Mother Teresa of Calcutta, she's the woman, everyone knows who she is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so she was very beautiful.
Amazing.
She's amazing, yeah. And she's the one who taught me about charity and because I didn't really appreciate staying in the convent. I was too boisterous, so I didn't fit, didn't fit in. So that's when John Paul said, maybe you should meet Mother Teresa. I said, okay, yeah, who's she? Okay, let's do this. And she was very, very, very boisterous and very outspoken, but she was very super strict, like so structured and very, very strict. She had a lot of demands the way that things are supposed to be, which I loved, and helped me to understand that when you're helping people, it's not about putting up with their excuses. It's not about putting up with, you know, their lack of confidence or any of that type of stuff. It's like either you want help or you don't want help. Either you want to make a difference or you don't want to make a difference. So she taught me that because of the way her energy and her vibration was every single time that we were trying to make movement. And then, well, pretty much John Paul's the one who introduced me to pretty much everybody. A lot of people don't realize that John Paul was not a real true Catholic priest, pope, bishop, cardinal. He was a spiritual man who believed in many different types of religions and beliefs. So through connecting and through my connection to the Vatican City and living in the convent, then that's what opened the door to connecting to Mother Teresa, and then having an audience and connecting with the Dalai Lama, which was more about understanding meditation. And understanding meditation was something that really helped, because through meditation, that's what helps to create clarity and balance within our soul. So that
I suppose he's not a bad mentor to teach you meditation.
No, he was really wonderful. He was sweet.
Amazing.
Yeah, he was really sweet. And then Lewis, who was, and he's passed away now. Well, everyone's passed away except for, well, the Dalai Lama. He's the only one that's alive, really. That's really been my most amazing mentors. Anyways, Lewis, he was the medicine man of the Hopi tribe. And he taught me more about the earth, you know, about medicine, about, you know, what this root does, what this plant does, what this crystal does, just more about the earth, and also understanding about hands-on healing, more about how there's energy through our hands, there's energy through us that we connect to Mother Earth, and then that vibration then heals others. So he was also very fascinating, but each person that has been in my life, and there's been many others, but those are just to name a few that have been very recognized. Oh, you know who was one of the most amazing people who I felt like was, and a lot of people don't know who these girls are. Well, actually there was one guy, is the Visionaries of Medjugorje. Medjugorje is a place that's in Yugoslavia, which is now, I think, called Croatia. And I used to live there. And I lived there for a short while with Viska, and sometimes with Mariana, but mainly with Viska. These people were more of like an eye-opening experience for me. And the reason why they were eye-opening experience is because they also connected with the Virgin Mary. So since I was very young, I always had a very strong communication and a connection, whether it was communicating with Jesus, whether it was connecting and communicating with the Virgin Mary, whether it was connecting with a Buddha, you know, it didn't matter. I always connected with many different type of beings, whether they were prophets, whether it was son of God, it didn't matter. So because I had that ability, I lived also for a short while in Medjugorje with the Visionaries, because they also communicate with the Virgin Mary and gave messages about prophecies and information that was going to happen with the world. So they also helped inspire me. I think they were one of, even though everyone else taught me, they were one of my inspirations that this is possible to have a voice in teaching people and helping people. Because if they can do it and people made fun of them all day long, then I can do it. It doesn't matter what people think. And they were so adamant about staying strong and not putting up with the rumors or the laughing or the criticism. So they actually helped me a lot.
Amazing, amazing to have this variety of.
It's very blessed.
Well, you have, and I think that's the thing. I think kind of one of the things that unfortunately I find is that people tend to stick to one route and one level of learning or education or religion, and they're not open. And obviously you've been like a big sponge from your early years that you've been absorbing. And hey, listen, surrounded by the most amazing, influential, and inspiring people. So I can see within your bio, and you have that. So would you define yourself as kind of like a lifestyle guru? Is that what you do? You help people find, their path in life? Is that kind of the main? I know you do courses and you do your retreats and all sorts of things, but is that kind of your?
Yes, that would be my main focus, is being a master guru of teaching people how to connect with their inner self so that they can focus on their purpose in life. So I believe that when you're connected to your purpose, everything else falls in place. It just kind of rains down and just showers you with success with every subject. And when you're in balance with your purpose and you're on that path, then of course you're going to have success. Of course you're going to have prosperity. Of course you're going to connect with your soulmate. Of course you're going to be healthy because you're connected. And I believe that that's the missing link with many, many people in the world today, is that they're not connected. So when I help people, yes.
No, go ahead. It's just, you were saying, so everything you're saying is I'm so in line with it. I had to interrupt you, but no, please carry on.
That's okay.
I just love it. I'll give you my thing in a minute. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So it's so important to help people to get connected to that. So when people, they just, they're like, oh, Tammy, I just want to have a session. And I explain to them, I'm not here just to do sessions. I'm not just an intuitive. I'm a teacher, and I help people to connect to their purpose. Because when people try to reach out to connect with me, and I don't mean this in a negative way at all. It's just, I believe so much in what I do, and I see such a difference and such a magnificent, huge, massive amount of movement when I work with anyone, non-believer, atheist, doesn't matter who they are. Logical, those are my funnest clients. I love working with logical, analytical people because, my gosh, they are so turned around when I'm done. It's like they don't even know what hit them, and they just become the most inspirational and awesome people afterwards because they were so analytical. So they know how to transform others because of the way they were. Anyways, yes, it's about connecting people to their purpose and being the guru for that.
Well, it's just kind of so I'm not plugging here. I'm just trying to put this in context. So my book I'm launching at the Expo. It's called The Question, and the question, but the subtitle is to find your true purpose. So the whole idea of me writing this book is about what I've learned, which is pretty much the same that you were saying, pretty much word for word. What I've learned is that it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Is that I have never found someone with a purpose who's unhappy, who's angry, who's miserable. It's just not possible. It's not possible. If you have a purpose, if you know what you're here for, and you ultimately have clarity with that, you will be, you'll be fulfilled. And a lot of the people that I see out there that are miserable, that they're sad, that they're angry, and I keep seeing that. And I see a lot of people that are in this, I'm not saying the industry, because I use the word too much, but I'm saying people that are, personal development junkies. They read all the books, they attend all the seminars. And I see a lot of them, because I've been doing this for a long time, and they're in exactly the same place 1 year later, 3 years later, 5 years later, 7 years later. For many reasons. One is because they don't take action. They don't really implement a lot of the stuff that they learn, but they just haven't found their purpose. They haven't found their purpose.
You're bringing up such a great point, and this is a beautiful point for people to hear. So a lot of my clients that I have are actually even very prosperous people, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's a supermodel, whether it's a CEO, whether it's a developer. I have so many different types of clients. Politicians, I have a variety that people would just be like, how is that even possible? But the point is, I have such a variety of clients, and they have money. They have money. But what is missing is joy. What's missing is purpose. And then when I help them to connect to their purpose by discovering and helping them to understand what they were put on this planet to do, which is exactly what my purpose is helping each person on the planet to understand, this is your purpose, this is your purpose, this is your purpose. Okay, how do I get there? This is how you get there. This is how you get there. This is how you get there. It's as simple. I mean, everyone's is different, but because of my intuition, because of my ability, I'm able to give everyone this information and then help you to learn how that you can continue growing and climbing the ladder and continuing to achieve every goal you've ever dreamed of. Because there's never, and you know, even though I use the word master, one of the things that I teach is that we can never be a master and we can never be an expert at anything because we never stop learning. And Mother Teresa taught me that. And John Paul said it a little bit too, but you can never, ever, ever, ever stop, because there is no such thing as being an expert. There is no such thing as being a master. I mean, I use that word because people like it, but yes.
No, I was going to say, it's funny, again, talking about the word industry, and there's so many experts out there, you know, that there's so many people that call themselves experts, and I completely agree. We're evolving. We're
Always
evolving. We're growing constantly and always. And we're, you know, whoever you are today is not the same person you were 3 weeks ago. So it's just part of the process. So completely agree with that.
Yeah. And the thing that's so amazing, and it's interesting because I've noticed when I was young, and I was going through, you know, all this growth, and I was
sorry, Tammy, to interrupt you again. When you were younger, because you're still very young, carry on.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. When I was younger, I like how you said that. I have to make sure to remember, you know, sometimes because I remember my past lives, because I was born unveiled, makes me very different. That's a whole nother story, but I sometimes feel like I'm hundreds of years old, even though my body may look young, because I remember so much from past lives. Anyways, when I was younger, one of the things that, now I forgot what my focus, my point was. But,
I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm thinking, yes, that's true. I need to say that. Yeah. But anyways, the whole thing is that when we're working with people and helping people to discover who they are, I think that's what makes my heart so filled with joy. And that's what brings so much joy to others, because when you find fulfillment, there's no more questions. There's only happiness. Because I believe, and I know a lot of people, you know, they say, oh my gosh, Tammy, get your head out of the clouds. Tammy, stop doing this. What are you doing? My family is the people who born me are very materialistic, very extremely materialistic, and very proud people. So they're the type of people who, you know, you go to an event and you're just like, you got to sit prim and proper, and you have to have the best clothing, and you have to have a certain look, and you know, definitely put the nose up and all the other things. And they have a lot of ego. Well, I never fit in because I was always like, oh, let's serve, let's be happy, let's you know, let me get up, and I'd help serve, and I'd help do, and I was always like, you know, I was a part of every part of the event. I don't care if I was serving, I don't care if I was helping opening the doors, I didn't care about what position I had, so I never fit in. But one of the things that I was taught, this is a gift that from the Dalai Lama, that of course I was already doing it, but he showed me also. I remember this years ago. When he walked in a room, I don't know how he does it today, because I'm not with him anymore these days. But years ago, he'd walk in from the back of the room. You know, he didn't walk in from the side entrance or, you know, a special door. Way back when, he'd walk in from the back, and he just showed that he was a part of the crowd. When you show that you're just a part of everyone, and you don't sit there and say, I'm up here, then you start realizing that you're a part of the whole. We're a unity. We are as one. You know, I'm not great, you're not great, we're all as one. We are one. And it was created that way. I remember what I was going to say. One things that a lot of people, I didn't say that properly, but one of the things that people don't talk about is that we were born to have complete happiness. But one of the things that we are constantly talking about is what we don't have, what we're lacking, what we don't have. We are not bringing forward the power of manifestation in a positive way. We are bringing forward negative manifestation, which is exactly the reason why the world is in chaos today. Whether it's politically, emotionally, financially, literally, it doesn't matter. It's because the power of manifestation is real. So that's another thing that I focus on trying to help people to understand, and I teach, is bringing forward that vibration of manifest happiness, manifest your purpose, manifest joy, love, whatever it may be, because each person, I believe in my whole heart and soul and every piece of my being and blood cell in my body, that every person is born to be happy. I do not believe that any person on this planet, I don't care if it's the most darkest person in the world, that person is meant to have joy. That person is meant to have a soulmate. That person is meant to have happiness. Just something went wrong down the road, you know? And we've seen how very dark people in our past have become some of the most magnificent, awesome people and examples in the world because they have been a part of transformation and showing how from dark there could be light, like yin and yang. Anyways, I talk a lot.
Okay. Well, thank you. No, you don't. You're fine. You lost your point and you brought it back because of my interruption. But anyway, listen. Thank you so much. Look, I'm very, very in sync. I'm feeling a lot of kind of what you're saying. I'm connecting very well with what you're saying, Tammy, and I completely agree. And you took a lot of sense, which is lovely and enlightening, which is what you would expect. But again, I identify that there's not a lot of congruency, but you definitely are. Now, look, there's a couple of things. There's three things I wanted to ask you before we wrap up. Now, first of all, your book, The Secrets of Your Chakras. Now, I believe you're going to be are you doing a signing you're doing a book signing at the expo?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Great. So I wanted you to tell us a little bit more. I'm going to talk about the workshops and I want you to tell us what you're going to be sharing at the expo. But tell me a little bit about the book and then, because I know you're going to be signing it there, and tell us why you wrote it. And
okay. So the one that I'm going to be bringing with me it's called The Secret to Your Chakras, and it's a handbook, because I notice one thing that people do not do very often is to really read a big book these days. So it's more of a handbook which teaches you how to be able to get back in balance with your 7 chakras immediately, speedy, understanding the chakras and understanding the locations you should go to so that you can be able to make the movement with these chakras, whether it's the mountains, whether it's the water, teaching you what they're meant to be. You know, what is it that your sacral chakra is responsible for? What is it that your heart chakra is responsible for? So it's just a handbook teaching you the secret to your chakras so that you don't allow yourself to have so much drama. To me, I almost actually had the title, and I know this sounds silly, but it's true, is the title, I almost called it Chakras for Dummies, because you know how there's all those books like Internet for, I have some dummy books because I'm horrible series, technology. Yes. So I was like, oh, maybe I should do that. And I was like, but it's really not, because a lot of people know about chakras. It's a lot of people don't know that the hugest secret to our chakras is super simple. And everyone's trying to make it so complicated when in reality, it's not complicated at all. Chakras is the vibration, the energy that runs through our body. It's the aura that creates, you know, whether we have light or darkness or whether we're positive or negative, you know, it creates the energy. So if you're feeling negative about someone, it's because their chakras are off balance and because they have dark energy, because they're blocked or they have interference or they're carrying some type of burden on their shoulders, whatever it may be. If their energy is really light and you see bright around them, it's because their vibration and their chakras are open. So the chakras are very, very, very significant. And I also talk about a little bit, not a lot, in The Secret to Your Chakras about the medical. So I'm not a doctor, but one of the things that a lot of people don't realize with chakras is that each chakra is responsible for your digestives or for your throat, for your brain, for your heart, for your pelvis, for your kidneys. I mean, a lot of, you know, for the blood flow, for the bones. So each one of those chakras are responsible for a certain area. So if you're having medical problems, it also does, it's almost like as if it's a perfect alignment of why you are also having that physical illness, whether it's a cough, whether it's heart disease, it doesn't matter what it's, you know, what the situation. Currently, I have a client who has, and I warned her of this like 10, 15 years ago. She has breast cancer. Now, the reason why she has breast cancer is because she has stopped using her heart because she has just focused on allowing herself to be self-sabotaging and focusing on, and she's more of a friend, she's not really a client, and she's been focused more on being a servant and not satisfying herself at all. Now, I have no problem being a servant, helping people. One of the biggest things that I do besides what my business is all my proceeds, everything I do goes to my nonprofit organization to help children and create wellness centers around the world. So there's always I always make sure and pay it forward like I was taught. She doesn't do that. She sacrifices and she is constantly giving herself, but she does nothing to have love back in her heart. So now she has this breast cancer that she's dealing with, and we're focusing on creating healing. So now, since we've been working together energetically and literally, the doctors are just amazed with her transformation, amazed with her healing, and trying to understand what was it that she did that is creating such a massive improvement with the cancer. And the huge improvement was called learning how to be selfish, eating, sleeping, breathing, living for herself so that she can focus on being able to be this amazing gift later in life. So The Secret to the Chakras is a very beautiful book, and I believe in it because it creates not just energetically, but even physically and mentally and spiritually.
Well, I'm glad you're going to be sharing that. I'm going to be taking one of those books from you. So I'll be there at your book signing, getting a copy signed by you. So yes. Thank you so much. And I agree. I think people, at least me personally, I'm dyslexic, so I love having access to small, relatively easy to read books because I'm always on the run, and if not, it has to be audible. Now, for those of you that may or may not know, obviously I have mentioned this, but Tammy's going to be speaking at the Best You Expo, and I've got you here in the yoga and meditation room, and I'll share the screen in a minute with you, and then you're speaking at the mindfulness and well-being about resurrecting your life purpose, and then in the empowering women, you're going to be talking about who is the real woman in me. And so you're going to be very busy. Why, first of all, I wanted to know, we're going to keep you very busy, which we're excited about, but why, what is it you're going to be sharing then? I know you're sharing different things, but why did you think that, for example, a platform like ours and kind of a live event there, what could the Best You customers, clients coming there, why could they benefit from coming to see you?
Okay, well, number one, since I've been to the Best You that I did in the US, the one thing that I've noticed is the people and the collaboration of people that you've put together and the people that show up are amazing. I speak and I connect with people all around the world always, right? But coming to this event, and this is why I was telling you at the very beginning, it's your light, it's your vibration, it's what you're bringing it's what you've created. And you've created magic for other people to find their place. Whether it's a business coach, whether it's someone like me, whether it's a health coach, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a real estate guru, it doesn't matter. You've helped collaborate and connect people that have such an amazing vibration, and people see that because of you. And when I went, I'm serious. And when I went to the one in the US, it was like, there was these people that were awake, right? They weren't sleeping. When I go to other events, even though they're, huge events and thousands of people, and I'm speaking and I'm talking, and, I always have a good result when I go places, but it's, when you see everyone busy, that's what makes my heart happy, not just me busy, because it's about the team, right? So when I went to the event there, I seen everyone busy, and I seen every single person that was there was awake. They were wanting transformation. They weren't just asking for a transformation. They weren't just pretending or on the fence. They were like, I'm ready and I want to make a difference. And if it wasn't for that, then maybe I wouldn't come all the way to the UK, but I seen such an awakening in people, and it has inspired me that it makes me so excited to be a part of an event again, to be able to help people, whether I end up, getting clients or doing business, I'm not worried about that. It's just spreading the message and helping to create light around the world. That's my mission. And when I know that people and their ears are open and they're like, what were you saying? Then that's what I love. It excites me because it's more about creating huge awakening. Does that make sense?
It does make absolute sense.
And people love it. And it does bring the best, it does bring the best you forward. And I do believe that. And everyone I've spoken to.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of, you know, we've with the event, obviously this is our 4th year coming up now. And you know, since the beginning, we were trying to tell people, hey, something like this is needed. And people were looking at me or us and saying, this is a bit strange. What's all this about? And I remember I share this story because not a lot of people know, but in the expo this year in London, I said, you know what? I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again because it's just so much work. It is so much work. I mean, I know people see that a lot goes into it, but people don't actually understand how much work there is. You know, we've got 160, 180 speakers. We're like babysitters because really we have to speak to, hey, you know, we speak to the speaker, oh, please send me this, please send me that. You know, we have a job to do. We want to make sure that, you know, everyone's happy. We want to make sure the customers are happy. We want to make sure the speakers are happy. But it's a big, massive production. And this is still small in my mind, but I remember this year, not this year, but last year, I said, you know what, I'm not doing this again. It's just too much work. And really kind of like, you know, part of the struggle that I think there's a lot of people that are in personal development. I'm talking the professionals who don't necessarily take themselves seriously, who don't really go all in. You know, they hold back. They want to make a difference. They want to change the world, but they don't really take action. You're obviously, you know, you take massive action and you put yourself out there and you know, you're sharing and you can feel your energy. But I have to say what happened when I said I'm not doing it. Then all of a sudden, like 12,500 people showed up in London last year, saying to me, Bernardo, we get it, we get it. So I remember my team saying to me, so what, we're doing it again, are we? I said, yes, we are doing it again. And here we are. So
the world needs
2019. It. Yeah, well, I know it does. And kind of like, you know, I put so much energy and so much love into it. I mean, you know, I'm a massive fan of the US. Well, I mean, but, you know, kind of, look, in the US, and I was blessed when I realized what we did after I did the event, you know, because I didn't understand the US market. It was our first attempt, but we still had around 8,000 people pre-register and 4,000 people show up. But, you know, we got so many compliments and so many people love our brand in the US, and we're very excited about our future over there. So, but I'm delighted for you to be there. I'm so excited. We have lots of speakers. Yeah, no, we have so many speakers coming. We've got loads of speakers coming from the US. So anything, I will share my screen in a minute just to wrap up. But Tammy, anything in particular that you would like to share? Any last message? Anything that you want to invite people to come along or you want to share that's special at the expo? Tell me.
You know, just come with an open mind and be prepared to have your mind blown away. And the reason why I say that is because when you have an opportunity to become finally awakened and you're walking through these doors, you cannot go to a better place than the Best You event, in my opinion. And I travel and I go to many places. And the reason why is because you have a collaboration of people that are ready and inspired and excited to help you. My whole purpose in coming there is to focus on teaching and awakening people in such a different way where, well, like a lot of people say, and my husband says it quite often, he says, I'm the best kept secret. Well, no longer am I a secret. I'm traveling the world. I'm doing everything. I'm here doing it all and helping people all around the world. So I've been doing that, but I'm doing more with the lectures and speaking. I'm excited because I've spent time in London many times before. I traveled to London for meditation, for spiritual purposes and all that. So coming there to do this event for me is exciting because the people I know in London, the people that I've connected with energetically and intuitively they're ready for this. You know, they want this. So me coming and just giving, you know, getting high on meditation, resurrecting your life purpose, and the women's, you know, finding the woman in me, to me, it's like you can't not get the message, because I feel like when I speak and when I teach people, they get the message, they understand, and they walk away with huge answers. They walk away with something that is going to be transformational in their life. Huge transformation, just massive movement. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, listen, I want to thank you. I'm going to share my screen with everyone's permission, and then we'll come and wrap it up. So for those that have been, I don't know, hidden in a cave somewhere and didn't know that the Best You Expo was happening in London, well, I'm just going to share. So basically, this is a link. So there's thebestyouexpo.com, and that will take you to the UK page. I'm actually in Tammy's page. And you know, so if you go to the show experience and you click on the speakers and talent, you'll see Tammy listed there. But that's basically it. So we got Tammy very busy. I don't know when she's going to have time to have a coffee or anything. But basically,
figure it out.
She's doing we'll bring you a coffee. Don't you worry about that. So she's going to be at the yoga and meditation room doing a workshop for us there. She's going to be in the mindfulness and well-being, resurrecting your life purpose. And then she's going to be an Empowering Women. The Empowering Women seminar last year was on fire. It was rocking. That room had the most, obviously, as expected, it has the most ridiculous energy throughout the 2 days. So that's all the information there. Look, I mean, there's a video there from Tammy as well. So I highly recommend you guys come along. All I can say, and it's pretty much what Tammy's been saying, is that it is phenomenal energy. I've been to many events, but you walk through, people come through, and they're just like sponges. Everyone's looking like they're in a sweet shop.
Yeah,
they are, and they're just literally going in and they're checking what's on the program. But these are all the different rooms that we've got. We've got 8, 9 different breakout rooms, lots of stuff happening. We've got the inspiration zone. We're teaching phobias, learn how to dance salsa, walk on glass, whatever rocks your boat, yoga, meditation, networking area, all sorts of things. That's a floor plan. And if some of you want to come along, we're actually doing on the 15th, and this is only for we can't invite everyone, unfortunately, but we are doing an awards evening on the 15th. So we're doing the Best You Awards. This is an award that we do, a recognition for people that have kind of stood out for us in the industry. So those are all the finalists. We're going to have a lovely evening there between 7 and 10. So it's a great networking opportunity, and that's when the speakers, we get a chance to have a vaso de vino and talk some business. But anyway, it's going to be a magical evening as well. I want to thank you so much, Tammy, for your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Boys and girls, there's nothing more important than finding your purpose, and this lady is the one that can help you. So I hope to see you there. Tammy, thank you so much. See you in 30 days' time.
See you soon. God bless.
Take care. Lots of love. All the best. Bye. Bye.